He's going to take first-team reps. Feel better? He's ahead of schedule.
Yeah, but that wasn't the biggest news on my list. It was Bosa.
Oh, no, Goo, don't do this.
Dude, they expect him not to show up.
Why would he? He's a superstar. They don't show up for this. Common practice in the NFL.
No, he's trying to get his contract done.
It'll be done.
Okay. I'm not saying it won't get done.
Why, do you have a sliver of doubt?
No.
Okay.
You don't want him to miss as much time. I get where you're going.
I don't care how much he misses. He's Nick Bosa.
Yeah, and he's been hurt before too. So
well, not lately.
Well, what do you mean not late? It's on the file. He's missed
a long time
season.
ago.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
I didn't expect him not to be there. I don't know why. I should have, but we hadn't talked about it. Huh? But to your Purdy point, you're right. It sounds like he's number one and he's ready to go. But we'll see how it goes down.
Well, I think that's how it's going to go down. Like if Purdy's
ready, right?
I mean, no, Purdy's the number one quarterback. He's going to be the number one quarterback at least 2 out of every 3 practices. He's at least at the start because he's not throwing. They're not allowing him to throw 3 days in a row. So, you know what? You know who can take a victory lap? John Dickinson.
What'd he say?
I said, why'd they bring Sam Darnold in? He said, to compete for the backup job with Trey Lance. Everything I heard today, 888-957-9570 is the number. You just heard Kyle Shanahan. You heard John Lynch. They spoke for a half hour to the media. I think the big news was that John Lynch said Brock Purdy's been cleared with no restrictions.
Man.
Also made it clear that Brock Purdy is the number one quarterback, and he will be Matt Mayoko asked him, is he the number one quarterback? And Shanahan said he will be when he's out there. And then went on to say he'll be out there 2 out of every 3 days. Mm-hmm. And Sam Darnold and Trey Lance, they are going to split the reps, at least as of now, on that 3rd day.
Yeah.
So I think, did anybody hear anything other than Brock Purdy starting week 1 and the backup quarterback is to be determined? 888-957-9570. And I think obviously that was the message that those two wanted to send because they said it without even asking a question.
No doubt, Steiny. And I'll say this. This is how you know I'm not a Brock hater. You just look at the kid entering camp last year to where he talked about, how many reps Brock didn't get. I think it was 3 last year. Nobody had him even being a factor. But how can you argue what the kid did? And not on top of that, Steiny, he won 2 playoff games against 2 damn good teams, Seattle and Dallas. And obviously we know what happened in Philly. But am I enamored? Am I intrigued to see what Trey can do?
Well,
some will say I've seen enough. Let me finish. Some will say you've seen enough. But how I would be a hater to say this ain't the right move. This dude earned it. And
who did?
Brock Purdy. And we still want to see, can he do it for 17? But what you've seen thus far from the Niner, from him and this Niner offense last year, all I can do is tip my cap and say he earned it.
I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff
he earned it,
past the first guy to read into this. I think here's another thing I think we found out, that the 49ers think Brock Purdy is significantly better than Trey Lance, or at least obviously better than Trey Lance. And I think if you really want to read the tea leaves, you should be a little worried now about Trey Lance. Because I think they brought Sam Darnold in here to possibly be the number 2 quarterback. So what that tells me is that the 49ers aren't even comfortable with Trey Lance as a backup. That makes them uncomfortable. And that, or at least Trey Lance as the number 2 without showing he can beat out a player like Sam Darnold. That's also what I heard.
And Steiny, tell me if I'm wrong, and I ain't mad at you. Did Kyle seem like he was taking something away from the quarterback guru that Trey Lance was working with when he said, like, every quarterback kind of, like, that wasn't the end all to be all, Trey working with him? I just got that from Kyle. He was like, every quarterback does that. They get their work in, but it wasn't like, he was talking about the feet more so than the release and the velocity on the footballs. I think Kruger asked him that, but I don't know. I just felt like Kyle was like, I ain't impressed, almost like that's par for the course.
I think every quarterback probably goes into the offseason and throws with a guy, the coach. And I don't think the teams give a rat's behind who the guy is for the most part, unless the guy's detrimental. So
you think we'll see a lot of go ahead.
The team can't make Trey Lance work out with anybody in particular in the offseason. They can suggest. So I think quarterbacks working out in the offseason with whoever, like for a pro team, isn't a big deal.
So do you expect to see, and I know it's day by day, Steiny, there was no part of me that thought we'd see Brock Purdy in a preseason game. Do you think we were going to see him if he's ready to go? And it sounds like he is. Man.
Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy will be the number one when he's out there. And he's going to be out there as the number one 2 out of 3 practices. That tells me he's going to play in the preseason. It also tells me they're going to treat him like the number one quarterback in the preseason. Yeah. So
I got you.
How much? Well, last year was a little bit different, but how much does how much will, let's say, Geno Smith play in the preseason?
They'd treat him like fine china.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't expect to see Brock Purdy in the preseason.
I want to see that arm, Steiny. I know they've seen it, and I don't know what he meant through the window, but
means he can literally only look at him through a window because I think he can't have contact
that's incredible.
With him. That's my guess. I might be wrong on that.
But man, that's good news
literally
for Niners,
looking out his window.
Fans. Yep.
I mean, today to me was an overall
it was over.
Terrific press conference.
Yeah. And will you give me this, Steiny? I know you're not finished. Real quick here. The last soundbite we got from Kyle about how giddy he was about the quarterback room for the Trey Lance supporters or the Sam Darnold supporters, I kind of twisted that into, so you're saying there's a chance and it might be open. And today it was closed.
I think he did that interview before Brock Purdy was cleared with no restriction. And
that's interesting.
He said what was a very safe statement at the time.
Yeah.
And I think between then and now, Brock Purdy's gotten a clear bill of health. And the 49ers are saying he's the number one quarterback.
Be ready.
Yep. 888-957-9570. I mean, there you heard it. The ball, to me, has been moved forward, and there's more news at the quarterback position, and the position is Brock Purdy's position. Kyle Shanahan saying Brock Purdy is the number one quarterback. He's going to take the number one team reps 2 out of every 3 practices. As of right now, they're not going to have him throw 3 days in a row out of precaution. They could, but they're saying, why do that so soon? So Brock Purdy is the number one, and that's been affirmed today. We don't know who the number 2 is. That's also been affirmed today because Kyle Shanahan said that most likely Lance and Darnold will split the reps on the days that Brock Purdy doesn't throw.